Well, we'll run through some of the native items that were used. Firstly was the footwear. There's several types of moccasins that are made, but this is a pucker toe moccasin that has a little bit of wool felting in it that came from the fur trade, and then the bead trim that's on here were items that the natives would get from the Europeans. Typically these moccasins were made from either smoke-tanned or brain-tanned hides of deer, elk, moose being probably one of the tougher ones. These were put on and then just laced on, and it was the women's job to make the moccasins, and they did an extremely good job of it. This is another example of some of the beadwork done on a moccasin with seed beads, which were traded by the Europeans to the natives for their furs. The natives were used porcupine quills, and that's what these are. There's 3 colors in here. These have been dyed, and they would use different roots and leaves and whatnot that would give different colors to the porcupine quills, and then they would lace them on and do quill work similar to the beadwork. This is sinew from the leg of a deer, and normally it's like a tendon that you can feel in the back of your ankle, and it's a hard piece, tight like that when it starts, and then they beat it, hammer it, and when you beat it, these strands separate, and then they can be used for sewing with, for doing the beadwork with, and whatnot. And that's where the native ladies love to have the traded steel needles for doing all their stitching work and whatnot, instead of having to use bone needles and whatnot. This is very strong, and it's called sinew. Here's a couple of other examples here. These are garters that tie around your calf and were used by the natives in their traditional costuming and for their dances. These are a couple of different examples that have been beaded. Some of these are not truly historic, but close. These are done on wool stroud, and were made in pairs and worn about the legs. These are a couple more examples of moccasin toes, the tops of the moccasins that go in here that were done, and some were done just for decoration and not incorporated into moccasins. Other items that the natives used and traded back, they used a lot of teeth, and in this little display here we have some coyote teeth that have been drilled and would be used in necklaces and whatnot, similar. Well, here's a bear claw necklace that's been done. It has some hair pipe, these are bone again, and has some brass beads on here and some pony beads. This is shell portion that's here, and it's strung on a tanned, smoke tan. You can tell by the smell. You smell the smoke of the stringing on it. The other teeth that are here, these are buffalo teeth that are in here. And then these are beaver teeth. and they're tremendously long. The beaver's teeth continually grow, and if they don't gnaw on wood and cut trees and whatnot, it can actually kill the beaver because the teeth will get so long that they have to wear them down because they keep growing out of their skull. These are fairly small. There's some fairly large ones that out of the male beaver that are big. But they were used for decoration on different things as well. In different ceremonies and day-to-day living, the natives used a lot of different herbs and whatnot. This is white sage that was used, and it's very aromatic and was used in different healing processes and for medicines and spiritual healings and in sweats and that as well. One of the more common ones was sweetgrass. This grows just like grass, and they would pick it and braid it, and it has very distinctual aroma, and they would burn this, use it to smudge themselves in their ceremonies with the smoke, and use it in various ceremonies.